She first raised it on a Saturday in November. Not during an argument, there was no argument yet, that came later, but in the particular tone people use when they have been rehearsing something and have finally decided the rehearsal is finished. She said she had been thinking. She said other couples did it. She said it didn't have to mean what he thought it meant. He listened to all of it. He was good at listening. It was one of the things she had said she loved about him. Early on, the way he gave full attention rather than waiting for his turn to speak. He gave it now. He let her finish. Then he said no, not harshly. Not with an ultimatum attached. Just no. This was not something he was willing to be part of. He knew himself well enough to know that, and he knew the marriage well enough to know what the request meant underneath its careful framing. She said she understood. She did not look like she understood. She raised it again the following weekend. Different framing, freedom this time, growth. The language of self-help and expansion, words that sounded large and reasonable until you placed them inside the specific context of a marriage and listened to what they were actually asking. He declined again. Same answer, same tone. The third time was the week before Christmas. By then, the framing had stopped being gentle. She was not asking for his understanding anymore. She was, he recognized, simply waiting. The way you wait for a traffic light, impatiently, certain it will change if you sit in front of it long enough. He had become, in her revised accounting of the marriage, an obstacle with a timer on it. He noted this. He filed it alongside the other things he had been noting and filing for several weeks. The picture was nearly complete. She said it on the 23rd. They were in the kitchen. She was making coffee and he was reading something, and the conversation arrived without preamble, the way conversations do when they've been waiting just below the surface of ordinary domestic life. "Don't expect a gift this Christmas. You don't deserve it," said flatly. Said in the tone reserved not for anger. Anger has temperature, but for conclusions. He was a conclusion she had reached. An obstacle that had failed to move on schedule. He looked up from what he was reading. "Fair enough," he said. She seemed satisfied. She poured her coffee. The conversation from her perspective was over. He went back to reading. Behind the words on the page, something else was completing itself. A decision that had been assembling across weeks, across declined requests and reframings, and the particular flatness of that sentence, and which was now, quietly, finished. He had called the attorney on the 20th. The paperwork had taken 2 days. He had been precise about what he wanted, and the attorney had been efficient about providing it. On the evening of the 23rd, after she had gone to bed, he brought the first boxes up from his car. Flat packed, stored in the trunk over several days of quiet preparation. He put them in the back of the closet, broken down, where they sat through the night without being noticed. She left on Christmas morning at 9. Her family, 40 minutes north, an annual tradition he had attended 7 times and would not attend an 8th. He closed the door behind her. He stood in the hallway for a moment, in the particular silence of an apartment that was about to change. Then he began. He worked without urgency. Room to room, methodically, the way he approached most things that required precision. His clothes, his books, the items he had catalogued over the preceding weeks with the care of a man who wanted no ambiguity about what was his. He left everything shared exactly where it was. He left everything hers undisturbed. The Christmas decorations she had put up remained on every surface. The small tree on the side table, the wreath on the inside of the door, because they were hers, and he was not the kind of man who disturbs what isn't his, even on the way out. The divorce papers he placed on the kitchen counter, already filed, a copy for her, the original with the court. He set her spare keys on top of the envelope, which held them flat, and also served as a signal that required no explanation. He looked at the counter for a moment. It said everything the situation required. He turned off the light in the kitchen. Then the bedroom, then the living room. Each room returned to the condition of a room no longer occupied by him, which was, in the end, the most honest thing he could leave her. He closed the front door at 1:30. The apartment sat through the afternoon. The tree on the side table, the wreath, the kitchen counter with its envelope and keys, the bedroom where 2 people had slept for 4 years, which now held the belongings of one. the silence particular to a space that was full this morning and has since rearranged itself permanently. Outside, the street held its Christmas quiet, sparse traffic, thin light, the city doing the low-energy version of itself that it reserves for holidays. Inside, the counter waited. She would be home by 6.